Okay, here we go. So we're recording, and again, I'll reiterate uh, anyone with this certain, let's say, broadcast we're doing. I have you all muted, so just raise your hand later to ask a question or to add a comment, even. So thank you. And thank you, Lee, brother, for joining.
We'll get one going. If we can't get
Yeah,
Facebook, we'll get it on here. At least it's recorded something, eh?
yeah, indeed. We attempted with Facebook, but didn't get it to work yet with both of us on there. So the topic is what's occurring upon the planet divinely at this time. So to keep it simple, everything that is occurring for the most important divine reason. So everything that's occurring is not also by chance. It is a divine orchestration that is allowing, if you will, the darkness to uh, play the role for the ones to stand up and come into their power, and the darkness is being separated from the human souls that are going forward with this ascension, which will be approximately close to 6 billion upon the planet. And to more say why there will be close to 2 billion that will not be going is because, again, upon the planet, there's not just all human souls, there's humanoid constructs, clones, there is minions, there is an actual darkness. And it is a conscious darkness, and you could use the identity demons or minions, whatever you wish, but they cannot ascend to the next level of the human experience. So, having said that, what is occurring is, yes, indeed, the ascension, the rapture, the upliftment, the new age, the new dawning, all of the prophecies. So everything is occurring divinely upon the planet. And, most notably in the last few days, we saw the immense pressure put on uh, Australia, a few of the northern territories or villages where the military is going in and removing ones, perhaps towards concentration camps. Now, let me say with this, anyone ascending, no one is in any danger. That's not what this is about. And it's about to get the planet prepared worldwide for the new reality. And part of that divine preparation is getting each individual soul to stand into their power, what some may say your sovereignty, but also to stand in the trust of God, Creator, and the divine plan, what is occurring. Now, there are the responsible and prudent roles to play in this, and each one upon the planet, each human soul has an important role uh, to play, and that is given through their own individual guidance, if you will, uh, in various forms. So it's important to follow what you're given and what you are feeling with this. But again, it needs to be said that there is indeed, you could look at it as a spiritual battle being fought out in real time. However, the battle has already been won. We are physically just playing the roles to carry that to fruition. which is uplifting humanity into the new divine plan for the planet. So, having said that, you wish to add anything there, Lee, with what's going on? I'm going to light up a beautiful cigarette at a nice place there.
Not so much with that, no, brother. That's just a nice introduction to where we are. I'll add on a little bit more when it opens up in a minute. You like your cigarette, it's fine. That can be sunk in. But the realization, the physical realization of the energetic is where we are. So it's bringing it into reality. And that's, I just put that in as a simplification from what Rick's just said. It's already done. It's just a physical manifestation of it now that we're going through.
And thank you, Lee, for bringing that up, because that is important as well. So what we're doing also is many that were working on the higher energetic levels while here in physical form, we are connecting that down to act it out in the material physical as well. So you have layers of consciousness and divinity that was here. You have one way you can put it is ascension waves, different waves of way showers advancing in their consciousness and also their divinity while in the humanoid form. So it is all divinely orchestrated, and it's all divinely organized. And where we're going with all of this, once we get humanity transition to the fifth dimension, it's everyone is equal there. Everyone is equal now, but this world, as you know, where it was with the hierarchies and the control by the darkness, all of that is going out. So we are the leaders, for the most part, the guidance to take humanity forwards, where everyone is equal and the leaders of their self. So we are just temporary guidance with that. Lee, I know you could elaborate a little bit better with your articulate ways.
It's what we're noticing, or what I've noticed quite prevalently lately, is that the ones that were doing the spiritual work, the energetic work, are still seeing the reality as needing to progress through certain sections or certain transitions prior to the new. And if we can look at the bridge of the gap between the consciousness, as Rick just said, the energetic work, there is no transition. It's bump straight in, and this is what we do. What we're looking at doing is bringing that into the reality too. So there is no transition in reality as well. There is no reason to look at how this needs to move in reality. What there is the end game, and bring that to fruition at this point. So it's much more now, the energetics for me is much more about bridging the gap of consciousness in the light communities, etc., to bring them down into the physical reality to manifest the purity at the end of it, not we need to change this system or that system, or look at the problems. The problems aren't there. As we know from the energetics, the problems aren't there. So just because we can see them doesn't mean to say that they're there. So we can look past that into what will be, and that's where we put our focus, if you like. So this is where the direction is, the leadership is, if you want to see it as that, as guidance, is past the problems into the new. What is the new? Well, the new is purity, and the new is equality. So we don't need to change any system. We don't need to wait for any of the reality to change for that. We can just go straight to it. So in that aspect is where the bridging of the gap slightly between the ones that are very highly conscious, working on the energetic lines, now bring it into reality and do the same work, but see it through to the end, not the progression. In that small aspect, I'll put that in as for now.
Yeah, indeed. I'd like to touch on, Lee, as you mentioned, so all the energetic work divinely and bringing it down into the material, what we're doing now is that we're here at this time, that everything done energetically is being manifested in the physical, if you will. And one indicator is your ability to manifest. And as you will see, many of you that know that you do co-create, that you create, and that you manifest, that your manifestations are happening instantly now. And one of the reasons for that, you were up here energetically before as a co-creator to manifest, and there would be a linear time it would take to manifest in this reality. But because that gap is so close now, that many of your manifestations, if divinely approved, will occur instantly. And you need to be very meticulous with your voice in this dimension, with your words, your verbiage, I should say. You need to be very meticulous with what you say and also how you say it. And everyone, to whatever proportionate degree, has been um, informed and divinely informed through their own ways or with whatever ways, that yeah, you need to be more conscientious of what you say, uh, and even how you say it at times, because you are creating uh, at much more significant rates than any time before. And it's part of your divine abilities with the entire, what we can call, uh, ground crew upon the planet to facilitate the heaven on earth for humanity. So your co-creator, your manifestation abilities are play a very important role in this. And this is also why it is important what you have in your consciousness and your focus and your direction. And as Lee mentioned, we're about the solution, not about the problem. So as the big creators, what we are, all of the co-creators, we create the perfect solution, the perfect scenario. But also in the course of doing that, and during this great awakening, we need all of these, let's say, more empowered co-creators uniting and unifying, which creates the one aligned energy to create it much quicker. And that is divinely assured that it does happen. That's part of this process that we've been going through to facilitate. So it is coming to fruition. And everything you see now out there in the outside world, it's very beautiful to be happening, because it's making the human souls choosing and being ready to advance into the new reality. So, on an individual basis, they do need to make the choice of what they support. The old reality, if they put their focus there, they are going to remain in that old reality. But not only that, they will cause like an anchor effect to the higher ones that are trying to co-create the new reality quicker. So this is why also we need the higher, and I need to say this because there is an hierarchy. We need the co-creators that are in their higher embodiment and enlightenment now, to unite all together under this one uh, common goal and knowledge of what's occurring, so we get it done quicker, and that thus eliminates a lot of the chaos.
With the common goal as well, the common goal is unity and freedom and abundance and equality. That's what that's what the common goal is for all. Uniting towards that common goal is simple. Once you see past the structures you need to change, and there's nothing needs to be changed because that's the goal. So in the physical reality that we see, there's a lot of problems that we can come up against and think that they need to be altered, but in reality they don't. They need to be dismissed and go straight past them. And this is the joining, and this is the bridging of the gap that is it can be seen as a difficulty at the moment. It's not going to be, because it's inevitable that it will come to this unity. But it's the time. So realistically, what we're looking to do now is show past the problems, like you would, as I said, energetically. So show past the issues. They're not there. They're not issues. To unite all of the light workers, the higher consciousness, expanded consciousness ones together to a common goal, which is pure freedom and pure abundance for humanity and for the human experience. None of the problems exist in that. We create them. So none of the complexity is necessary. It's all created through thought. So let go of all of that and see past it. This is the construct, and this is what we're trying to unify everybody towards this, from their disjointed run towards the same goal. They're all running the same way, but in different directions. We need to come together on this as a whole and see through it. So this is the conversation that we've been having lately with quite a few. And again, because there's perceived issues in the way, we're having to overcome those before we can see the same solution. It's the joining of all of these together and the unity of all of the light, all of the expanded consciousness together, not separate, and how we best do that.
Indeed, yes. And again, the unity is so important of all of the awakened community to get aligned with the one full solution. And of course, without getting into it, GPMS is that one full solution, but we'll just put GPMS, which is the divine plan, we'll just put that aside for a bit. So everything that is occurring is the transition into that. And it's nothing stops this. You know, the very reason that all of us are here today speaking about this is a confirmation that it cannot be stopped, meaning the new reality, but also it's divinely assured. And what's occurring upon the planet, it did have a schedule, let's say, of 10 more linear years to 2030. But again, we shortened everything up. Upon the planet, there are many divine ones that knows their divinity as well. And so, you know, even the reason why we're here today is because it's unstoppable, it's inevitable, and it is indeed the divine plan. And you see the old reality very beautifully imploding, and it's not built on integrity, and it's not foundationed in merit and everything that we are and that we desire. And many of you had your prayers and asked for it, you know, years and years ago, if you will. But it's also your prayers are being answered through this. But again, each individual is responsible to making the choice to get aligned with the higher reality. Now, before there were transitional stages like GCR, Jacera concepts, and what have you. But one of the things that has occurred is that the Great Awakening has happened so quick. So many have become empowered in their divinity, bringing down what they divinely are, that these transitory steps are no longer required. We can go to the full thing, and that's what's occurring. This is also one of the reasons why you're not seeing any of the QFS, Jacera, you're not seeing any of this come to fruition because it's not in alignment as well. There is the big divine plan that is right here.
Just to add to that, on the back of that, I'd like to just put in nice and simply RV, GCR, Jazara, Nizara, QFS, G, whatever it is. They all tell non-truths, which is why they won't work. They all talk about debt, and that doesn't exist. They all talk about government structures, they won't exist. in an equal structure, in an equal society, how would you have anybody governing another? There would only be administrations for the people, of the people, to help the people, as opposed to govern. So anything offering these sort of structures will fail. Anybody looking towards these sort of structures is just chasing a carrot on a stick that's been thrown there as a distraction. See the simple through them. If they don't tell the truth and if they're not transparent, they are not good and they will fail. I can't say it any clearer than that. We can chase them all we want. Whether or not putting material backing against the human value is ridiculous. It's unnecessary. And anything that is unnecessary is not needed. Let's keep it really, really simple. If it becomes unnecessary because in the future you see past it, then it's not necessary now. If we're going to create the new, when we are going to create the new, then let's create the new, pure, transparent, and true. So all of these old ideas, unnecessary, gone. Straight past them to the newer idea, which is full transparency, full equality, full sovereignty, however you want to see it, divine law, and that's what we're bringing. That's what we're going to be going to. So anything less than that is less than that and is no good.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lee. See, let's say one of the problems was GPMS is the solution, but one of the problems was the control upon the planet. And what Lee was mentioning, with any of these concepts, GESARA and QFS, what you'll see is there's a common denominator in there of gold or whatever backing the asset. And the problem with that is how the darkness, yes, the actual evil darkness, controlled people because they owned the gold, if you will. So if you have with GESARA or what have you, if you have that based again on a gold-backed currency, it's who controls that gold. They dictate the value. So this is why the GPMS goes above that and places the value with each individual. So you do not need any outside material backing to back a currency. And with GPMS, again, it's only a transitory, it's only a temporary step for humanity where very rapidly they rise out of the need of money at all. But the biggest problem was the control upon the people. And GPMS is that biggest solution because it takes that control right away from the few that own the gold, and it just gives the control to all of the people, and also all of the rights and the actual divine natural law is activated within each individual, and it cannot be compromised because, again, you had the majority of the people upon the planet are the human souls that dictates what the reality will be. So again, they just need to choose. But to assist them in choosing this new reality with the divine law, everything that they knew as law has been violated and compromised. So they know they must make a stand at this time, which is happening.
To jump on the back of that, we come across quite a few misinterpretations of what law and legal means. And again, to make this nice and simple, no victim, no crime. When we go into law, and you can see how much it's been obfuscated now down to it doesn't matter what you do, it's just revenue gain. We can see a lot of these problems between a lot of us, and we can still see this, and we can still say that's unlawful and this is illegal. It's what we got to do is look past that too, because legality and commercial trade and commercial obfuscation of truth, the inalienable rights stuff is all gone. Constitutions, Magna Cartas were all underwritten with legality and thrown out of the window. There is no law anymore. It's all legal structures, and that will fold. So when that does fold, then we're going to go back to law. We're not going to go back to a constitution because that was flawed, because it got underwritten. It got underwritten, as did the Magna Carta, as did all inalienable rights. Divine natural law was underwritten by legality, and it was lost. So these structures will come back in as humanity chooses freedom. So what we're going towards is a complete new freedom, which is universal law or divine law. It is do no harm. It is be true to your word, and it is no victim, no crime, along these lines. So again, we don't need to progress through the transition where we need to get rid of it. No, we don't, because it's going to be gone. And that's what we offer now, is that it's all of these structures are imploding on that lower timeline anyway. They will not be there. Government structures, legal structures, merchant structures, financial structures, economic, they're just not going to be in the future. And I'm not going to put times onto it and project in. They're not going to be. So let's just go past them now. And look at what will be. And what will be is purity again. So we'll come back to the same thing. So again, with republics, with constitutions, and going back to something, it just won't happen. This is all going forward to something, and that's the new.
Indeed. And, with this, I mentioned earlier today, I put out a post, but I need to reiterate the importance that for any human soul, including the one standing up in the streets, that you're not to attack another. And this is very important. You are allowed to defend if provoked. But the moment that you attack, what you do within you is activate an aggression mode, which is fear, which is not compatible with the divine priority energetics upon the planet. And this is where the wrath of God, if you will, comes in, that each individual, by their choices of what they do, triggers this wrath. And what has triggered this wrath is all of the evil and the darkness. They have been given, let's say, almost a decade with their choices, but as they resumed with their old agenda, it 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 created their destiny and their wrath to fall. So again, that's why the divine plan and everything is guaranteed for all of the human souls, because the choices have already been made. Yes, there's been the trial and tribulation period, the revelation period, which is actually the revealing and exposing the actual resistance, the actual evil that was there. However, on the good side of this, everyone is being lifted up out of the evil, or the evil is staying behind. Either way is correct. But again, we don't need to put so much of our focus on the evil. That is for awakening purposes, which is doing a fantastic, amazing, exponential job as we speak. So at this time, we have more than enough awake on the planet again, that we focus on that ultimate solution. And that, if you wish to look at this also as a divine mission, which it is, we are all here for a reason. And whoever watches this later or sees it now, you have that knowing. And the reason and the purpose is what the stage has been divinely set for it, to advance humanity forward. And again, what I wish to say, the evil and the darkness, they only reside in this lower dimension, the fourth dimensional space. For what we are multi-dimensional beyond them. So what's occurring is just lifting humanity out of this small dimensional space. You might wish to use the terminology, which I do, into the 5D, and that's what's occurring, and the darkness cannot go. So it's all divinely orchestrated and set up as part of the divine plan to facilitate this. And things are happening so rapidly towards that right now.
If you look at the and we all do to a certain degree. If you look at what's transpiring in the reality, you can see it's imploding very, very quickly. There's not much time left relatively. The choice is being forced upon the populace, if you want to call it that, however you describe the collective, heavily. a choice is about to be made is very, very close to this. So for the light showers, the lighthouses, the guiders of humanity, the ones that know where they are and who they are and what they're doing, is to align together to show the truth, show the real future, show the way through. So this is again is bridging this gap slightly of following something that somebody else has said is a good idea, and not questioning it too much, whilst considering yourself a lighthouse and guiding humanity towards a better solution. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're not, but it's not the real solution. So this is where we need to be focusing, I believe, on bringing everybody together to show past the problems again on that level, to really show through to where humanity has got the right choice, not a choice that's given to them.
Indeed, Lee. And you know, there's so many more indicators out there that this is so. And one of the substantial indicators is seeing the police and even some military that are awakening and stepping away from the old systems, knowing that it's you know, unlawful, illegal, as part of their transitioning into becoming more awakened. But I'd like to focus on that because you see right at this moment, because you see that transition, it's happening all around the planet. And again, when you see these police and military awakening as well and not supporting the old regime, it shows you that divinely the new plan is supported, that the transition is happening very rapidly, and there is no going back to any of the old with this. And again, it's guaranteed to go through it and go forward and play your role, everyone to play their role divinely, whatever it may be. So again, it's ascertained, as you can see. So you see the breakdown of the old, and that's what's occurring beautifully.
On many levels too. It's breaking down in the spiritual community. It's breaking even in the higher consciousness communities. There's breakdowns, there's separations, and there's people moving from one group to the next, and as they're moving forward, as well as in the reality. So all of this is imploding, whilst there is a squashing, if you like, of the higher consciousness into a different way too. Even though a lot are still following benevolent but doomed to fail systems or ideas, constructs. So any instrument that takes humanity into another looping phase, we can see that that's not good. We could see it as maybe as it's benevolent for a couple of years, or it might help out now, but it's not the truth. It's not going to be reality. So just see straight past it if you can. And if you can't, put your hand up. We'll show you.
Yeah. And you know, also, I'll just retrieve the thought I had there. Also, now, when most of you know the old adage or cliche that the darkness were the masters of deception and trickery, uh, that has imploded upon them for what it is, meaning that there are higher masters here that is above all of that, and that they cannot be tricked. And heaven said this. This is with the misinformation that gets put out there in the benevolent alternative news. Each one needs to be very conscientious of what you're reading and what you're looking at. And it's at this point, I need to say, it's so important to not be complacent and dependent upon another to do something for you, or let's say another supposed group, because there's been trickery and misinformation intentionally interjected into a lot of these groups to cause complacency and stagnancy while the darkness was preparing other plans. So you need to be very wise, use your discernment feature, your heart again in your inner knowing, and to trust that fully, and to know that again that a lot of these good truther streams, if you will, the intent is good. However, with sometimes the trickery gets interjected in there. And I need to say this, it is the people what the government, or the not the government, it is the people what the police in the military that are the good ones that are awakened will support. It is the people that, let's say, need, if they need to against the governments write the documents, the actual people does it, backed up by the military and the people. So you need to also keep in mind that some things, as you saw, as a savior coming to do that for you, that may not be the case. Everyone needs to stand together, and everyone together is that savior that does it.
Yeah, there's a few out there that are purporting to be very, very benevolent and very beneficial, even with some big names behind them. I'm not going to name anybody, but they still use words like governments, heads of state, People's Government Services Department, and global intelligence agencies. Have a little look at what they're offering and just look at the wording and see whether it's inclusive and see whether it's a choice or whether it's something that's being done for humanity, and that's just not going to work. Humanity will do it for themselves, and that's the beauty, and that's the benevolence, and that's the purity of what's going to be coming, is the humanity will choose for themselves. And all, as I say, the lighthouses do is guide humanity towards their choice, their freedom, our freedom, however you want to see that too. Purity, pure transparency and truth. If it doesn't come with that, if it comes with words like government and institutions and corporations and economics and wealth, then there is possibly something to be thinking about.
Exactly. And where we're taking humanity, you do not need to protect anything. There are no criminals with it. Once everything is harmonious and shared equally, there is no reason for anyone to fight over anything. So you will not have criminals, meaning you do not have to protect a monetary system, or look out for the cabal or the bad guys trying to hack things. They do not exist where we're going. And again, this is the whole ideology of the divine plan, to place everyone into harmony where there is nothing to fight about. Everything is shared. And, part of, let's say, the governments in the past is with the control. They created the criminals. They caused even good people to become criminals. And again, the solution, what the divine plan is that there is no reason for anyone to become a criminal. So we keep focused on the solution, and in the very near 5D world, what we are creating together, there is no disharmony, there is no wealth disparity, there is no inequality, and what have you. There is all of the good things.
One of the interesting aspects came up in the week about, I'm not going to go into it in too much depth, but it was with regards to possible other solutions that could be available. And the idea was put forward, certainly by myself, that if anybody could find a better solution than the one that we've already got, then it just gets added to the solution that we've got. It's not like it needs to become a separate instrument or separate this or separate that or another way. It's just the same way. It's just, oh, this sounds a better way, or this sounds good. Personally, I can't add too much more to the solution at the moment, because I believe the solution is full and complete. If anybody else can, beautiful, we'll add it to the solution. So it doesn't need a lot of these different instruments with all of these different names and all of these different ideas running on the existing systems to maintain the old looping structures, etc. It just needs to go straight through them, and utilize whatever systems then are beneficial to run on. So an interesting thing came up about QFS is going to be up and running soon. And the point being is, do we need it? No, we don't need a QFS to change what we've got into a pure system. We can use the QFS, but we don't need it. So we don't need anything to happen relatively. We just need a direction and a unity, and then everything happens. So this is a kind of the opening of the mind, if you like. And I know a lot of people that are here already know this and have heard it lots of times. But it's getting this out to maybe others that are running on different things and that have different problems that they think need fixing first, which is stopping them seeing past that. Let's just go past it. And if we can have that conversation, then we can come together. Rather than bringing problems to the table, we're bringing unified solutions to the table as one. This is the key. It's as one, not unified solutions in different areas. It's as one. And that's when we really start to get this ball rolling, if you like, get the energies really aimed towards that freedom, that purity, and that transparency.
Absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up, Lee. So, over the course of the last 10 linear years, while you see the revelations, trial and tribulation, the exposing all of the darkness, during those last 10 years, while that was all being done, on the flip side, what you also had is so many with the humanity projects, the ideas, all of the permaculture, if you will, all of the good, clean things, that was all being uh, developed, the entire schematics for how to run a clean society. So, all of the templates for everything, and including the personal relationships, all of the templates at the same time have been put here upon the planet. So, while the old was destructing rapidly, at the same time, all of the good things divinely were being prepared to adjust humanity into the 5D or the harmonious world. So all of the templates have been, if you will, interjected into the timeline as well. And again, within the awakened community, you have the entire skill set of those awakened to very fluently and efficiently run the new systems. So it is not it's so simple, and it just organically comes together with everyone working as a community. So it's been all divinely pre-arranged, if you will. And with what GPMS, with the divine plan, that's why in its simplicity, it doesn't need to be complex, because everyone knows what to do and how to contribute to make it work very quickly. So everything, again, is divinely assured that that's where humanity is going. When I first came to the planet, and when I say came to the planet, what I mean, I embodied my divinity into the physical Rick about 10 years ago. And the first thing one of the first things Creator Father said is that, okay, humanity is 123 linear years behind where it should be in relation with all of the other universal beings. And let me say, in the course of 10 linear years, that right now we're at, in any moment, the planet, the civilization, and the human experience can be right where it needs to be in perfect time with the other universal and interdimensional beings, or what have you. So, a huge gratitude for everyone that participated with this, all of the divine ones making this possible and bridging 123 years catch up and doing it all in 10 years. Like, it's huge efforts, and many can attest, they're tired, we're tired, but hey, we're right at the finish line. And that is the beauty, what you're seeing out there right now, because the old has to be destructed before the new can be constructed. But at the same time, the new is being constructed as the old is being destructed. So it's happening simultaneously.
On that, do you want to ask for any questions, my friend?
Yeah, that sounds good. Anyone want to put up your hand? And is it only I, Lee, that can see them on here if they have a question?
I can.
You can as well?
Yeah.
Perhaps
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah. So, if anyone has a question, put up your hand, your icon, when you click on your name. Is the way to do it. Okay, fellow American. Here we go. Go ahead, fellow Americans. You have the floor. You have to unmute yourself on your mic.
Here we go. There we go.
There you go.
Okay. Do you have any idea when we might be bringing the cabal down? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
When?
I believe you asked when. Do you have any idea when we are bringing the cabal down? Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay, again, approximately about 10 years ago, everything to do that had begun. So we are at the point now where the cabal, if you will, is almost finished. And this is why you're seeing such desperate attempts by them, which is actually backfiring on them and awakening more. So, what you call the cabal, the dark elitists, or what have you, at any moment this will break. And the more people that are uniting and rising, the quicker that it breaks. They have lost all power, really. 10 years ago is when it began.
There's a
Thank
lot
you
of
very
echo
much.
there. There is no cabal relatively. There's just media representation of, and a little bit more going on towards the end of it. It's very close. We've been saying that for a while, but it's really the truth rather than the cabal falling. It's the truth coming out. There's the kicker. When the truth comes out, there will be nothing left of anything that you would class as cabal, right?
Exactly. And it's when you see their actual power, it is none. And as Lee is saying, they use the media to create the illusion that it is big, and also with their financial markets, for instance, any stock exchange, one person can control that from one computer, the entire financial system upon the planet. So having said that, no, they are very weak, but they are playing the instrument to get many more to awaken and stand in their power. So again, it's all by divine design, and it's happening in the blink of an. We're that close. In the blink of an eye, once enough people stands up here, all of the old is just obliterated very quickly. But also, more importantly, as the people stand, we just create the new, which creates all of the old and the cabal out of existence, if you will. So it's happening.
There's a lot of, if you look at the differences, doesn't matter which country you're in, there's a lot of pressure. When enough, in my mind, when enough of humanity stands and says no more, then the cabal doesn't exist anymore because the truth comes out. So at the moment, it's as hard as it is for me to say and see. Like Rick said, they're still playing an instrument to wake him to push humanity to that point of moving forward.
So there were two main things what the cabal, if you will, used to control humanity. One was money, the other was their complex legal systems. So with GPMS, which all of the people are able to choose, it renders their money with no value, and their whole legal system collapses as well with it when it's not supported. The only reason why the cabal had a control is that the people supported their system and used it. So with what we're doing with GPMS and also the new world, the people have a choice to be part and be to be controlled by the old system or choose their full freedom. But in reality, it's not a free will choice. All of the people are being forced to unite and create the new reality, which it creates the cabal and the governments right out of the picture because it's all about support and what the people choose. So the people are becoming totally aware that they have a choice for the reality they wish to choose. And again, the reality is the full liberation and the divine plan contained within the GPMS.
One interesting aspect I'll put into that is this: the energetic aspects already won, the lights already won. Any control the cabal had in physical reality was removed when the energetic victory was ascertained. So again, on a higher level, there is no cabal. There is a physical reality that is being released as the higher is being materialized or manifested into this reality. So yes, there's still the remnants, and yes, there's still this media presentation, and yes, there's still a lot of talk about what was, but when will it drop? I don't know. I couldn't give you a time on that. Hopefully very quickly, but it's not the cabal dropping, it's the truth being released to the masses, undeniable truth that will cause a shift. So we're not going to see the cabal slip out the back door. You're going to see a truth come that shows humanity what was.
So do you think that they will be on a tribunal, or there are tribunals being held now, but
Yeah.
do you think that Donald Trump will be back in office?
Well, Trump hasn't told much truth. And if Trump comes back into office, what would he be? In an equal society. Do you see?
Well, I know that he's fighting to get he's fighting to get our income taxes, or we don't have to pay income tax anymore. I know he's fighting to get our property taxes down. I know he's fighting to get a lot of things for us. I mean, I agree
with you. I agree with you on that, brother. I agree with you on that, brother. But what I'll say to you is this: there was no tax. It was illegal. It was unlawful. There was no property tax. So if he's fighting to get that back for you, why is he not fighting to show you the truth about the system that was completely unlawful in the first place?
He has been,
to a certain degree, but he hasn't told you all debt was fraud, and the whole system was built on the cabal stuff.
Well, he has mentioned the dark state, the cabal, the Illuminati, and in many of his things where he's saying that we're going to bring them down because they're an illegal system that's set up just like the IRS is, and he's bringing that down. He's going to abolish the CIA. He's going to abolish the FBI. I mean, I've been in some private meetings with him, and I know that he's going to be doing a lot of things. So
he's doing the good work. I'm not saying he isn't, but what I'm saying is this: That's the three-dimensional aspect of what was. And although we're not going to talk about Trump necessarily on this going forward, the point being is positions of power, going back to constitutions and all of these things, this isn't going to be something that's given to humanity after all of this. So somebody saying we're going to take down the CIA, well, humanity will take down the CIA. Somebody say we're going to change this system in America. What about the rest of the world? There's a lot more that the human construct will do, as opposed to what someone's going to do in this. And there's no government's going to come back in to rule over or have authority over. So whether Trump comes back in a future, I hope he does, but it will be on an equal playing field of sovereignty. So these things at that level aren't being spoken about. What's being spoken about is a lot more of the wake-up call to the lower timeline, as we call it, to the reality. So there's a lot being shown by that was wrong, but it's not fully wrong. And when humanity does realize what was actually done as a whole, then they will make a choice. It's not going to be given to them. It will be a choice made by them.
Yeah, so I'll add to that again, see, when you look at nationalism, if you will, countries were created for separation and with governments, and where we're going, it is unity, so it's no longer separation. And this is, let's say what Trump was doing was transitional as well to get us to this level. And when Trump was elected in 2016, if you will, as part of the light forces, we assured that he got elected because it was rigged, the vote rigging in 3 states, Florida, Georgia, I think it was. And anyways, what we did is we divinely intervened to assure, and this is why Hillary was like this, because she was it was all set up for her to win, but she didn't because there was divine intervention. But again, we have excelled so quickly that even these transitory measures by Trump are no longer required. We can just go right into the new with it. And again, there cannot be any separation, and it has to be worldwide community with it. And also, even when you looked at one of Trump's platform to put in the gold standard, well, as soon as you say that, a gold standard, again, who controls the gold really? And you cannot do that, and that is not compatible with the new. And this is why with GPMS and the divine plan, that it takes all of that control away from any of the few what was there before. If you were to maintain that, you just keep humanity looping and looping. Humanity has to go forward. And the way to do that is the individual governments are all imploding and the people will unite. And again, with Australia, what you're seeing, this is so great to see international support going to Australia. If all of the governments, and again, this shows you very distinctly how the governments were all interconnected, that they were all the one, and not one individual government would stand out to help Serbia, for example, to recognize their constitution. They did everything to take power. No country would back them. They said they had one, but in the time there was none. With Australia, you saw no individual government coming in, although all the principles of democracy, if you will, were compromised and violated. And it's because it's also divinely set up to break down all the governments, because it has to take all of the people universal. And again, everything was instrumental in leading up to this time. All of the old ways will not work. There is the one ultimate solution with it. And that's putting the power into the people's hands and away from a select few and all of their mechanisms of control that the old had.
I'd like to add one more thing to that on the back of that. Sorry, fellow. Is this Donald, Mr. Trump, whoever, come and speak to us. The military, come and speak to us. Come and speak with us. Let's forge forward. Without the old stories. Come and join.
Indeed. Fellow American, yeah, I'll let you speak. I see it because I just muted you. Yeah, this is the thing. Yeah, come and play the community guidance role with all of us to transition humanity forward. But there are no strings attached to the old. This is the ultimate solution. So I'll unmute you again so you can speak, fellow Americans. Go ahead. You're unmuted, fellow Americans. Just check to unmute your microphone if you wish.
Sorry about that.
That's
okay,
cool.
yeah, I was wondering, do you have a set time? Do you have a set time that you have your show or your video conference every day, or is it weekly, or when do you have it?
It's impromptu. We just have it on divine timing, if you will. So it's impromptu, not scheduled.
If you could give me like a 48-hour notice about when you're going to have your next one, I can try and contact Donald Trump and see if I can't get him on here.
Great.
Yeah, we would love that. Fellow Americans, what
My
I've
name is
wished
Jay,
you
by
to
the way.
do is to contact I and Lee, and we will let you know. And with this is kind of special, and we're loving it. We'll make it a point to have one very soon. However, what I will share is that we are going to be very busy for the next couple days, but let's have this perhaps Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. It would be best to have it as soon as possible.
Okay. Well, let me contact him and see if I can't. If he's depending on his schedule, if he could come in, if you could send me a time and a date, it'd be better. To minimize, his time. He's very busy, but let me see what I can do. I'm friends with his son, so I can probably get him on here.
Or connect with us directly, Rick or myself, rather than in a live conversation, just so we can then set up a live conversation.
Okay. All right, sounds good. And I'd like to get as many people on here watching this too. I don't know what your following is. I didn't really check it, but I see a lot of people on here now.
The more the merrier.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be good to get his input on some things that what he's wanting to do and what he's seeking to do. I mean, we have to have leadership in the country. I mean, we can't just be completely lawless. We have to have laws and things like that. But I mean, they have to be constitutional from our original Constitution, and that's what he's trying. I know that's what he's trying to reinstate is the original Constitution. So, I mean, it's been so bent and warped over the years that it's like it's almost non-existent now. So,
one of the problems with the original Constitution is because it could get bent and warped. Where we're going, that's not going to be the case because it's. Sorry, it's a bit echoey. Because it could be altered, it could be changed, it could be obfuscated. So yes, it's a noble idea, but it's not where the ultimate is. The ultimate is divine law, which supersedes that, and it's more like a divine law for the global peoples as opposed to an America. So our solution, the solution contains the divine natural law, which takes it back above the constitutional law, as per, same as the Magna Carta was completely wiped, etc., etc. So as knowledge comes in and as the truth comes in, then Individuals will see how much of the law was removed from them. Their unalienable rights, their birthright, their divine birthright as a human soul was obfuscated into law and into constitutions and into legality afterwards. So it really does go backwards, however that sounded. It really does go to unalienable rights as the law, do no harm, moral and ethical codes and these sort of things. So it won't be lawless. It will come back to a moral and ethical pathway as opposed to a written constitution per se. But everybody's got their different ideas. But when they sit down at a table, they can see through the problems and then create the new, and the new's already there for us.
Yeah, exactly. And we keep it as simple as possible. So, with the 1776, with the Constitution and what have you, we don't want to go back there because, as Lee explained, it's all tied into the legalities and part of the old system. It's much simpler just to throw that away and create the one worldwide community, simple constitution, really. So, having said this, yes, it is important, and both of us would fully love to speak with Trump. Donald, it is time. I was going to say something else with that, but I'll just say yes, it's time to have that discussion to take things forward, because it involves the worldwide community. And yes, it'd be very great to have that collaboration at this time, and to take things forward, with communication and collaboration. I'll unmute you now, fellow Americans. While I was muting you, is because there was a double echo. So I'll unmute you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for your input, brother.
One other thing, when you say divine law, do you mean God's law?
Natural and God's law, and also, it's your intrinsic and moral and ethical knowing. You know what's right, you know what's wrong. Really, you don't need it written. Everyone knows that is good of heart. So where we're going, the good of heart are going forward, and that's why you don't need a complicated lawful system. It's the fundamentals in the basics, which is the unalienable rights, if you will. And you don't need the complex legal systems into the new, because what I said, the darkness and the corrupt ones do not go into the new. They are actually created out of existence. So by shifting the focus and getting the world wide people united as one voice, we just create the new, free, harmonious reality. And when their old systems are no longer supported, they don't exist. So again, it's so much easier just to create the most harmonious, compatible system for all people. And that is the easiest way. Just throw away all of the old stringent policies and all of that.
There's going to be a slight cultural and societal change as well around different belief systems and freedoms of expression, etc., around the peoples. So again, there's an allowance inside the new structure for those cultural and societal differences to remain, as opposed to one rule. But they all sit within that moral and ethical pathway, which we all know.
So basically what you're talking about is one world government.
No. Because a government has an authority over the individuals. What I'm talking about is more administrations, and administrations set up by the people to look after the people, not govern them, but administer to them.
What about? Okay, who would be enforcing this new era that you're talking about, there would have to be some sort of enforcement to have people, because not, people, there's people out there to steal, there's people out there that kill, there's people out there to rape, there's people out there to do a lot of things. I mean, are we going to get rid of all those people? How is this going to work? I mean, and who is going to be doing it? Who's going to be taking these people out?
Rick?
Yeah, well, with this, again, I don't know if you were in at the beginning. There is the divine element, which is an actual real thing. And what occurs with that, without getting in too much detail, what you will find as we have the unity in the new system, that there will not be any criminals like it was before. The reason why criminals exist is because of uh, the the strict rules and the control that governments had. It pressured people. So when you open it up, you relieve all of this stress and you take even the reason away for anyone fighting. Very quickly in this new reality, you do not need a military because humanity is advanced out of that savagery. So what occurs is actually you really do not have to address any criminality, because quickly as we transition, it is erased also from existence. Now, when you said with bank robbers, with the new system, it doesn't, money will really not have any value. So if someone wants to steal, it's going to really be pointless with the new system to steal. And really, there is nothing to steal. It's not even going to matter because each one has their own activated funding that is there. So it makes it nonsensical, and it takes it right out of the equation very rapidly. And as I mentioned earlier, it's also divinely assured that any of, let's say, the ill intent does not go forward. There is a divine mechanism that deals with energetics and the fear dense aspects without getting too much into the esoterics and in the metaphysical of how it works. But it does work. Just
Jay seems to have left, brother, at the moment, so we can continue answering that.
No, I'm back.
Criminality doesn't.
I lost internet. I lost internet for a few minutes there. I'm back.
You're good.
okay. I see another person has their hand up. Do you have anything else now, fellow? What is your first name?
Jay.
Are you? My name is Jay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
J-A-Y.
Okay. Good to meet you, Jay. Do you have anything else? We have another hand up here.
No, go ahead. I'm just want to listen now and just kind of get a better idea. I didn't get on the program in the very beginning. I missed it, so maybe I can catch up.
Yeah, there's a bit more mentioned at the beginning.
We're recording this, Jay, and you can listen at more of the beginning, and that would be great. And I express my greatest gratitude for you joining us tonight. And I look at this as important and instrumental in taking this forward, and what you say, taking the cabal out of existence very quickly. So thank you for that. Now, Ian, I'm going to unmute you. Ian, you have a question or just one moment, Ian. I see that just one moment. I'll go back to Jay just because I think he has just something more just to say. Okay, I opened you back up, Jay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've got to run. I've got another conference call I've got to be on, and I will do my best to get with him this week and find out what days he's available. So maybe we can, work it around that. Okay.
Thank you.
That would be best, Jay. Yeah, just
Okay.
give us perhaps a time and we can be flexible too. That would be great.
Okay. All right. It's nice meeting you guys, and keep up the good work. All right.
You as
Thank
well,
you.
God
brother.
bless. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay. Ion, you got the floor there. Do you wish to speak? I unmuted you. You may need to unmute your microphone yourself. I'm uncertain, but try it. Ion Stoika. Your microphone is open so you can speak. You have a question? No. Okay. Anyone else have a question?
Or comments, or thoughts.
Yeah. Maybe we put everyone to sleep, Lee. No, joking.
Again.
No, we did not. Everyone's awake for sure. So that's great. With Jay, we get Trump on, Donald, and we get down to some huge business with GPMS. Okay, here's Ann. Okay, I'm going to unmute Ann. Hi, Ann. Go ahead. You're unmuted. Ann, try. We cannot hear you. Try your microphone.
Oh,
There you
sorry.
There you are.
I was talking to myself.
That's good to do that,
Yeah, I want to thank you because every time I listen, I get new information, and it's not mental. It's like I build up the building blocks inside me energetically. And every time I listen, it's getting clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
You're so welcome, and thank you as well. So, anyone else have anything to say or any questions? Or is there anything else? I guess, Lee, while we're waiting, anything else that we have to say?
I'm trying not to run it straight into GPMS, brother. I'm trying to leave it a little bit on more unifying the lighthouses and the light workers, everybody else, towards a common goal without pronouncing the common goal. So keeping it on the energetic thread and talking through the physical reality as it is to the goal, and seeing that and performing that and purporting that, rather than dropping into the instrument that we have. We can drop into it, but I don't really want to add too much more without dropping into that. So keep it energetic.
Yeah. So the main message is there is no despair and misery. There's actually the rejoicing and the uplifting is what we're saying. We're here with all of the solutions, and there's just millions of us upon the planet, and perhaps if not all of you listening right now and participating, you are also all part of this, and everyone is. So these are great times, and it has to occur like this again, divinely. So each human soul makes the choice for the new world, and that's how it gets created. And it's happening very rapidly, and yes, we are amidst of it.
One of the things I would add to that too, as well, with it's the connecting and the talking with us. This is what we're really looking to do, is to speak to whoever, solution orientated, but getting to them is still a blockage. So getting them to us may be easier. Again, it's up to everybody how they resonate with that and how they feel on these when they're looking at other people doing different things, bringing them towards a more unified approach. It doesn't matter who they are. We'll speak to whoever, but it's finding them is the problem at the moment. It's being a bit of a blockage at the moment.
Yeah, so having said that, I see you, Sonia, in one moment. So having said that, what we're doing is we're open to anyone listening to this, any, let's say, leaders, light leaders, anyone with any truthers with huge followings, to get everyone informed of the brand new solution here for all of humanity. So we can get the solution out and joining with this and creating it very quickly. So that is essential. So anyone that can contribute by contacting ones to get into direct contact with us. Okay, having said that, I'm going to unmute Sonia. She has a question or a comment, and Yolanda, I'll get you just as soon as Sonia's done. Okay, Sonia, can you hear us?
Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, Sonia.
I'm good. Can everybody hear?
Yes.
Okay. So while I was listening to Jay speak, I felt energetically that his heart was pure. Yes. But what I also see that in some of the things that are happening now is, of course, everyone's on different level of awareness. And so I think that that's the blockage, is that, there's so many questions there, it's like trying to think, and I'm thinking about how I grow myself. It's like yesterday I was like, well, how is that going to happen? And then 2 days later, I'm like, oh, I got it, So I'm just, I don't know how that plays out. So, but I still feel like it's going to play out just the way it's supposed to, the divine plan. And that's it.
Thank you. No, it will do. And it's seeing past the problems to the solution. And as Jay brought up, he saw some problems, but they're not to be worried about. They're an opinion, they're personal, their perspective. They're not to be worried about when you look at what's going to happen. So it's seeing past it, Sonia, like you just said. You can see a problem, then a couple of days later it's gone. And that was what it was. But at the time, it was very important, prudent, and prevalent in your mind. It was very difficult to get past, and then it was gone. So this is where the communication and the connection starts to really help others to see past what they see as a problem. But of course, without that awareness, then they're still looking at the problem. So if others, this is the point about bringing the information and bridging that gap that we see as a blockage too.
Yeah, indeed. So again, with the GPMS, it is the direction. It's what, I'll reiterate what everyone was fighting for. They didn't know, they know they had at least to stand, and they were standing for something, but they didn't really know what's going to come out of it. And it is the GPMS. So this is also for everyone listening, it's why we have to make the whole world aware that the solution is actually here. This is the direction. So the people keep standing and keep uniting together. And then with the one huge voice that the GPMS creates, it has the dominance over everything that occurs upon the planet, and it establishes the complete harmony, freedom, and abundance. And nothing can oppose, again, what the GPMS is, because it's designed to be all inclusive for everyone, with full accommodating every man, woman, and child upon the planet. And placing them into full abundance and bliss and so many other good things, all of the good things.
And the beauty is, it's not something that's being given by any government or any authority. It's being given by the people for the people. It doesn't work without the people's choice. It is the people's. It's not given, it's taken, it's chosen, and that's where we're going to be. So all of the other problems prior to that don't matter, because the people will choose.
So that's where where blockages are, because there's a lot of people that I speak to, just they could not wrap that around their head, because we're so used to the government, we're so used to the programming, we're so used to it's like so and unless you go on that journey to awakening and awareness, it's going to happen slowly for
However,
each individual.
However, as I wish to say, Sonia, they're being forced that they have to make a choice. So, divinely, they're being forced by being squashed, pressured by the old system that, it's going to be so easy for them to see the solution that they don't need to know all of the mechanics and the complex thought process that it is occurring very rapidly. So it is being done. And again, as you know, with the GPMS, that's why we kept it so simple that even children were signing it on their own accord, or let's say joining it. I'll get rid of that word signing, becoming a member or joining and choosing this. And as Lee said, it's the choice of all humanity that creates it all together as one. Everyone contributes to it.
Changing the wording as well is nice and straightforward. People can't see past the government. We'll change the word to administration. Let it work for you. You don't need to destroy the government. You don't need to destroy the system necessarily. You destroy the manipulative parts of it. You remove those, and now it's working for you. So it's, how do we live without a government? Well, you try it. Try it.
Yes.
That's the difference. I don't think it will take very long for humanity to learn in a benevolent society that this was better. But of course, when you're looking at it from the other side, then it's very difficult to see that better. That's the bridging of the gap.
Yes, I think that's what Jay was trying to, get to, what he was trying to get to, what you're just saying. Yeah. And but I also who was it? Anne mentioned, just every day is just I go to a new awakening. And so some of the groups that I used to belong to, they kind of like fell away.
That's good. And that's natural. That's organic progression, right?
And so even when yes, and even when Jay was, speaking, when he was talking about the governments, and I understand where he's coming from, it's like, who wants to go back to anything what was? We want to create everything new, all things new.
And that's where the conversation starts. That's where, sorry, Sonia, I thought you'd stopped. That's where the conversation starts at this that we're looking to now, is this like leadership that wants the new, but all they can see is the problems and the overcoming of these old structures. They don't need to be overcome. Just come and have a chat, or come and see this solution without holding on to these problems. Yeah, and the more that we can speak, the more that we can speak through this, and the more that we can show, that bridges that gap. And all of a sudden, then you can see past it, and then it doesn't take long.
Thank you.
Thank you, Son. You're welcome. Yolanda, I'll unmute you. You had your hand up and you took it down. You must get tired of holding it up. So, oh, there it is. You got it back up. Okay. Go ahead, Yolanda.
You need to unmute, Yolanda. Okay.
Yeah. Unmute your microphone. There you go.
Hi, Rick. Hi, Lee. I mean, I'm feeling such a high vibration with this meeting here. It was wonderful to have fellow Americans here. I think it's something so positive for us. And I just wanted to say that I think we will soon have a Spanish interview, Lee or Rick, if you guys are ready for this, because I've gotten in contact with one of the Spanish leaders, and he actually I've got in contact with two. It was an English guy and also a Spanish guy, but the English hasn't really responded at this moment. But let's keep it open and see what happens. But the Spanish one has, and he promised me he was going to have a look at it at GPMS, and that we were getting contact again because I was talking to him, and so he will say that he would have a look and he would be willing to have an interview with you guys. So the thing is that obviously you don't speak Spanish, do you? So, but he speaks perfectly English. He has quite a lot of followers, but the best thing about this is that he has so much contact.
Good.
And so, in one way, I would get in contact with you guys, and maybe if we have an interview, if you can make, especially you, Lee, talking a bit slower, so we can, so I can, understand you. Because sometimes you go ever so quick talking, and so I think something positive is going to, or that's the feeling I'm having, that something positive is going to come out. Because in the Spanish community, I do feel a little lonely. I need more help, more people around that are willing to create this, because I'm a bit lost in many ways how to create this community bigger. So I hope that this comes out, and I'm willing. Yeah, I don't hope. I know it's going to come out, and we're gonna, something is going to come for this. So I just wanted to let you guys know that we are moving, even if we don't seem like we are, but we are doing our little parts as we can.
Beautiful. Look forward to it, Yolanda. I will slow my words down.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Well, I wish to say, Yolanda, you're creating it. You said you were thinking about how to open it up, and what you're just sharing is you're doing it. Yeah, so it's happening. And this is great news to receive tonight as well. And getting into with this, there are good Chinese people, and we're getting into China as well, which is great, and spreading the news. And of course, again, within all of the governments around the world, we're the bad ones, but this does not mean that the people are bad, as we know. And there's all around the planet, from every race and creed, are the good-hearted souls, if you will, and they come from everywheres. And in this most glorious time, we are all uniting with that one common goal. So it's great. And yeah, it's opening up finally on divine timing. We've been waiting, for so long. But it is opening up. So this is very great. So thank you for that, Yolanda. And I see Carl has his hand up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for all that you do, and Sonia as well. Two contributors.
Everybody.
GPMS. Yeah.
My love to you all. Thank you.
Okay. Carl, brother, unmute your microphone and let's see if we can hear you. Carl Kroos, I have you. There you are.
Hello, Carl.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Just wanted to pop in and say, yeah, I've been trying to spread the word around too. I've been in touch with people from West Africa, and several other places around the world. It's kind of nice to be able to spread the word and hear that people are kind of interested in it, and tell them to go and take a look at it and use their heart judgment. But not only for their family, but for those that are near and around them in their countries, especially when they're in poverty and with bad water and all that other stuff. And tell them the infrastructures will change once this all switches over for wherever they're at, so that they can get things flowing a little better, get work going and everything like that. A lot of them say, well, I want to come to the United States and do that. I said, well, you could probably do that too, because there's going to be free traveling anywhere in the world when this actually kicks in, especially with the airline pilots, like you guys mentioned earlier, in the week, about how a lot of them are leaving their jobs and wanting to go and do something better for the world. So I want to say thank you to everybody who's listening, and keep on spreading the good word and spreading the heart's thoughts out there so that everybody can understand and see what is really being created here.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you guys. And you're all welcome.
Thank you so much, Carl. Yeah, you brought up a very quick point that I'll just elaborate on. Upon the implementation of the released funding instantly worldwide, all of the essential projects, all of the essential goods and services are immediately funded with money as well. And so it's all divinely assured that, what I like to say, what we're doing with GPMS, and when I say we, I mean the entire human souls, people upon the planet. So what we are doing with this, again, if governments had people's best interest in mind, they could do it in 2 days, what we are doing. But it's not going to occur that way. It takes the people to do it. And then, yes, very quickly, we create it once we have all of the choices registered in one place to create the voice, if you will. And that's done through joining the website and just saying yes, you support and choose that and are a member of the new reality, and we do it all together. So instantly we bring this in. So thank you.
It's also going to be interesting to see how many actually want to leave to go to somewhere better when it all of a sudden becomes better where they are. There's a lot to change, and a lot of mentality and a lot of thought process changes when abundance is when you've got abundance and freedom at inception. Then all of a sudden a lot of those old thoughts may go out of the window, because now you've got everything you needed and wanted where you are. You don't need to go and find it somewhere else where it's been offered like a carrot on a stick again. So again, there's a lot of openness with the new instrument, because it allows for a consciousness shift.
Absolutely, Lee. And you brought up a very, I wish to share, in the past, I've spoken with so many worldwide, and I spoke with a soul from Mexico, and it was not only him, it was others also that attested to the same thing at going to America, to the U.S. And he said, Rick, he says, you need to know here that we love this beautiful country and we wish to stay here. But it's the corruption in the gangs that are forcing us out of there and fearing for our families. So, as you just said, Lee, once everything is straightened up, yeah, there will be people that do not want to leave their countries, because everything will change, and the community and the harmony. So that's an excellent point. Thank you. Okay, well, is there any other closing questions or comments? And do you have anything else, Lee, to add? Or we've been on here quite long, so.
Yeah, no, I think unless anybody else has got something to add or another question, I don't really want to progress it. Otherwise, it'll be too long, maybe.
Yeah, so what we'll do, if no one raises their hand, again, great gratitude to all that joined us tonight and all that will listen to this in the very near future. So great gratitude, and what we ask is to assist as community, share the GPMS worldwide, the divine plan. We also call it that as well, and to create that rapid awareness that every man, woman, and child joins it. And again, every children's voice, their parent can register them on there as an individual, and a child's voice counts the same as mine and yours does. So we need all of the voice as well, and this creates um, the majority voice upon the planet that gets everything done very quickly. So it's important that we get everyone to join, every man, woman, and child, and parents can join for their as being guardians of the children as well. So.
And on the back of that, I'd like to put it's very important at the moment that we get the ones with followers to start to talk so that we can get a defined message out to humanity about the choice.
Yeah, to share all of the content, and also we're open for interviews, GPMS representatives and members that have been there. It's not only Lee and I, there are um, several or even more than that, and some of the beautiful feminine can do some of the interviews as well, which we would love. We're all working together, and also with that, anyone listening, share the GPMS in your way, do your interviews. It's all of us together. There is no wrong with this. No one needs to ask permission from anyone, from you. You are part of GPMS, so you just go and share it your own way and speak about it your own way and get it out as quickly as we can. And again, as soon as we have the big enough voice, then we begin taking more of the action at implementing it directly into the planetary society and making everyone even more happy and joyous and free and full abundance. So, sounds good. Okay, so love and light, and again, and much gratitude to everyone, and we'll be speaking soon. And as a result of tonight's recording, as you can see, we got some very exciting things coming up. So, woo!
Love and light to all. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.